On this Friday, the 5th of February, you're watching This Week in TJ. Imagine for a moment an earthquake leveled your city, the leader of your nation forced to live in a bus stop because his home is gone. In the panic and confusion that follows, you lose your children. They are alone in this chaos, frightened and unable to comprehend what is going on. Enter some Christian missionaries, whom, instead of trying to find you, the child's parent, they decide your child is an orphan, without asking, and attempt to take your child to another country. Your child is injured, dirty, hungry, and dehydrated. Yet the Christian missionaries do very little to aid your child with its needs. This is exactly the situation 30 Haiti children ranging from the age of 2 months to 14 years found themselves in this week after 5 Christian couples attempted to take them across the border to the Dominican Republic.
I don't want to go to the Dominican Republic.
You have to, you're an orphan.
No, I'm not. That's my mom over there.
Poor kid is suffering shock. In fact, Christian missionaries are responsible for some of the biggest human rights abuses in history. I say we need to keep the Christian missionaries out of these countries where they are only further people's suffering. Thankfully, in this case, however, the Christians were captured and arrested and charged with human trafficking, so they won't be stealing anyone else's kids anytime soon. My irk this week is bank fees. It seems every time you turn around there's either a new fee or an old fee has risen, but I reject the idea banks even need to charge fees in the first place, and here's why. When you deposit money in your bank account, they take that money and stick it with everybody else's money, and invest a lot in property, secured loans, stocks and bonds, amongst other things. In other words, they make a profit just by you having money in your account. This is why some banks choose to waive account keeping fees for accounts which hold a minimum monthly balance, because by having that minimum balance, they can ensure X amount of profit from the money in your account. If, for example, everyone at a bank decided to simultaneously close their accounts, the bank simply wouldn't have everybody's money. Not just because they store the notes at the Reserve Bank, but because the majority of money from accounts is tied up in investments, some of which, like secured mortgages, won't see the money returned for several decades. So, with banks earning profits on the money we have in our accounts, I find it entirely unreasonable to then be slogged monthly account keeping fees, transaction fees, dishonor fees, and so forth. In fact, speaking of dishonor fees, what the hell is exactly the go with that? You have no money in your bank account, then somebody tries to draw on it, which didn't cost the bank anything, and then they want a piece of the nothing you have left? Where's the logic in that? So this week, I say to banks, lift your game, because you're really starting to irk me off. A breakthrough to understanding sudden infant death syndrome has come this week as a Harvard University team researching the subject released their findings. The research showed a link between a lack of serotonin in the brain and sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS for short. Serotonin is an essential chemical in the brain, involved in passing messages from one part of the brain to another. It's also involved in the part of the nervous system responsible for maintaining breathing and heart rate. It has been suggested that a deficiency in this chemical can cause an overheated or face-down baby to suddenly die. This explains why only some babies die of SIDS and others do not, even when put in the same situations. However, I must hasten to add that this is only new research, so any tests for the deficiency, and cures of course, are certainly some time off. US astronauts will soon have to hitchhike rides on board Russian rockets as President Obama winds back the NASA funding. NASA's Constellation program, which would have seen Americans return to the moon, has been cancelled, and rightly so. The program is estimated to have cost $100 billion at its fruition, and a NASA insider speculates that it would have missed its 2020 deadline by 10 years. President Obama is now handing over development of an American spacecraft to the private sector, with generous cash incentives for any companies choosing to go down this path. But you won't have to wait long, because multinational company Virgin's space arm, Virgin Galactic, is scheduled to begin taking paying passengers on suborbital flights this year, with opposition SpaceX not very far behind them. Yep, for the right price, you too can become an astronaut. With the fall of NASA, it seems, comes our true advancement in space exploration. Facebook has some new hoax chain statuses this week. There is one which claims a certain Facebook parents group is run by pedophiles trying to see pictures of your kids. Problem with that claim is, beyond the lack of evidence, simply joining a group doesn't give someone access to your photos. So if you have your privacy settings on friends only, then there isn't a problem anyway. And if you don't, then every person on the entire internet can see every photo you have up, even the ones that don't use Facebook. Meaning, you're screwed anyway. Another claims the creation of a premium Facebook Gold account and asks for money. Whatever you do, don't pay anything. There is no such thing, and there probably never will be. This week, I'm asking you to leave social networking hoaxes you've seen in the comments section. That's all we have time for in this episode. Be sure to continue to check out my blog throughout the week. The address is on screen now. And until next Friday, I'm TJ Marks, and you've been watching This Week in TJ.